public, and therefore please note that this submission is open to the public and the media, and is also being aired live on the parliamentary channel in the Walesi platform, and being streamed as well on all parliamentary on the parliamentary social platform. For sensitive information concerning the matter before us this afternoon that cannot be disclosed publicly, this can be provided to the committee either in writing or privately. And therefore, if the Nasinu Town Council feels that there are probably the topics that need to be discussed privately, please just flag at that point, and then we'll manage it accordingly. Also note that pursuant to Standing Order 11, just by way of clarification, there are a few circumstances where non-disclosure is allowed, and there's on national security matters, third-party confidential matters, personnel or human resource matters, and I guess committee deliberation and development committee recommendations and reports. This parliamentary meeting and all the information gathered is covered under Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act. However, please bear in mind that we do not condone slander or libel of any sort, and any information brought before this committee we encourage to be based on facts. In terms of the protocol of this committee, please request that we minimize the usage of our mobile phones and turn them to silent mode if not already. Also wish to remind honorable members and our guests that all questions are to be directed or addressed through the chair. I would also like to at this time introduce the members of the committee. We have Honorable M. Chand, who is dialing in on phone today. He's unable to attend in person. And on my immediate right, you have Honorable Chabasova there, who is also the Deputy Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, and Honorable Alvik Maharaj. Honorable Chachi Danand and Honorable Tuinadeva are absent today. They are on duty travel, so they are not attending today's hearing. I'll also invite at this point, towards the end, to just get introductions from both Nasinu Town Council and the Auditor General. But as you are aware, we are here to discuss the Nasinu Town Council audit report on the Municipal Councils 183 of 2024, particularly the audited accounts of the Nasinu Town Council from 2013 to 2030. I will now invite perhaps the Nasinu Town Council first, and then the Auditor General to just introduce themselves, and then we'll carry on from there. Naka.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members of the committee. I'm standing in on behalf of our chairman, Mr. Felix Magnus, who is not available due to annual leave. And I'm Choni Tuyono, a Special Administrator for the Nasinu Town Council. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Salesh Kumar, and I'm a Special Administrator with Nasinu Town Council. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members. I am Imran. I am the Manager Corporate Services for Nasinu Town Council, currently acting as the Chief Financial Officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Chair and members of the committee. My name is Moshin Ali, Assistant Auditor General.
Good morning, Chair and Honorable members. My name is Lotte Aluvia, currently a Senior Manager with the Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you very much. Just to round off in terms of remarks, we will invite Nasinu Town Council to say a few words after this, and then perhaps talk through the questionnaire, the questions that were tabled. Then we'll invite the Auditor General if they would like to say anything as well. before we open it up to the members present here today to um, to sort of ask questions. I normally encourage questions during the presentation and also after. So please just bear with us, and we'll try and ensure that discussions flow very smoothly. So with those few words, again, welcome, warm welcome from the committee, and we'll hand over to the Nasinu Town Council. Naka.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just a background before we allow the discussion on the questions that was raised to the Council. Currently, as we speak, we are experiencing an explosion, a population explosion in Nasinu. And I think that should be mentioned because it is quite alarming to us how we manage the population influx. And coming with it is the social issues that attach to them. That's one of the points that I want to raise prior to the discussion on our questionnaire. And secondly is the constraints that we face. As you know, Nasinu, there is no CBD at the moment. So all planning to establish any township for that matter, these are things that need to be essential components before you establish a township. And we don't have any CBD, no bus stand, no bus station. So these are the constraints that we currently face in Nasinu. And it hasn't been brought to the to national level for considerations, which is serious at the moment. And we did a quick analysis in terms of staff population ratio. We in Nasinu, we're scaling at 1,100 ratio, S to 1, compared to Suva, which is scaling at 500 is to 1, and Lotoka 400 to 1. So that shows the immense responsibility that Nasinu handles with a limited number of staffs, which is totally unrealistic, which I feel I need to mention here before we discuss in terms of our budget. And not only that, we want to highlight the old and diminishing infrastructure that is brought upon us. This is our third year as special administrators, and we are thrown into the fire, so to speak. And how to manage it is just beyond comprehension with limited budget. The old infrastructure that is affecting us. As we speak, I highlighted this in our previous meeting here, that our boys are running 7 to 9 kilometers a day as we speak. That is rubbish collections. And they're doing that on a daily basis. And these are the realities on the ground. We currently have a total of 54 informal settlements. So all these statistics are just highlighting the constraints and the reality of the problem we face on the ground, which is not known so much at the national level. And in terms of economy, we are working very hard to expedite all these processes. And I must say that through our leverages and connectivity with the authorities, few major projects are currently under implementation right now. This includes the Lyndhurst New Coral project, which I know our chair is mindful of that. The Emerald Bay project, which is quite $1 billion capital development that is currently ongoing right now. There's a Grace Road Challenge engineering just next to our market. We have Vision Motors, and these are major projects that is developing in Nasinu right now. In terms of our economy, we can't, as you know, the strength of any national economy is based on the strength of the local economies. So you can't depend to expect a strong national economy without putting, enough concentration and support to the local economies of our country, which includes the 13 other municipalities. That's briefly what I want to, to provide a background to our committee before I hand over to our Chief Financial Officer to respond to the questions that was raised. Thank you.
Much, Mr. Teone, your comments are noted. I guess the fact that you've got additional investment will mean more pressure on the infrastructure. So we will note the comments, and But just by way of context, something I should have mentioned earlier is part of the committee's posture is to try and understand where we can help get more resources for the councils. We're facing a similar situation as well with the provincial councils as well, in terms of trying to assist with financial reporting. But underlying that is some resourcing constraints as well. So the points are well made, and thank you for that. We'll allow you to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think just elaborating more on what Mr. Tuyono has already mentioned, Nasinu Town Council has a total population, ratepayable population of 11,375 ratepayers. Our total bill for the ratepayers and garbage fees for NEA, the invoice income, is about 3.1 million. That is inclusive of garbage fees and rate collections. Our expenditure in terms of garbage collection is somewhere around 3 million, and we have rates as our major source of income, and we have 3 markets, which brings us about 300,000 in a year. Other than these two major income earners, we have health, fines, and building permits and building fees. But these are not sufficient for the council to fully operate. We are very heavily dependent on the government grant to be able to financially sustain us. A number of things that would bring revenue for the council has been removed. So this would be the taxi basis, the business license, and and also Nasinu Town Council does not have any major infrastructure similar to other municipalities that gain as rental income. So the major issue that
Do
we
we
have.
have a handle on how much the taxi base revenue was and how much was in the business licenses?
Yes, sir. So roughly we had 690 bases within the municipality of Nasinu Town Council that would get us somewhere around close to $600,000 in income. And then for the business licensing, it was ranging from, on an average, it would get us 4 to 500,000 in a year.
Revenues because they moved from a permanent base to a, what you call it,
Open base, sir.
open base.
Yes, sir. So we.
Is there a charge still on the taxi drivers for being open based? No, none.
No, sir. There's none.
Okay. Because really, that's interesting. Irrespective of where they go, they should pay something. Yeah, because they still have the benefit of using that base. Okay. It's something to think about. Okay. And just on the business licenses, like my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why government had an issue with business licenses was a very long process, and it took so long to get because you need to go and get approvals from all agencies, and at the same time, basically each agency was virtually asking the same questions again. Because of the move towards, as you're well aware, towards the BPAS, there is going to be a database where, when businesses are going for these separate approvals, basically those approvals, once done, you can potentially still charge a licensing fee because all the everything's done online. So what I mean is, you can potentially automate the licensing process so that you get back the fee, but it's not painful for the licensee, right? Because they normally apply for fire, whatever the permits they need to. But the challenge is that they used to face was same information having to be gathered, so it delays the process. So if we can automate that process, potentially we can bring back that fee. So I just wanted to get your thinking around that, whether that was correct or whether I'm kind of wrong in my assumptions. Yeah.
What you're saying, sir, is correct. There was an issue with the timelines for the business licensing processing. But with the current process, what has actually happened is that we are giving rise to a number of illegal entities. What's actually happening is the registrar of companies is allowing people to register online without checking for the fact whether these are operating on a legal premises. There's a number of businesses that have come up in residential zones that are not supposed to be operating there. Industrial activities, commercial activities that hinder the peace of a residential environment have started happening. So because they are passing the intervention of town councils. So what's actually happening is that once a person is able to register a business, they are operating it from anywhere, and the registration process allows them to do that. So that's one of the major challenges we have. The system has been implemented, but this is only been followed by those that are being in compliance with it. So our health departments are actually going around and checking for them. So there is a health admin fee that is in. So that's a very minimum fee. It ranges from $25 to $100 depending on the size of the business, but this is only applicable to those that require health licensings to operate. So these are dairy shops and restaurants. But other than that, where rental businesses are concerned, mechanicals, so these are actually jumping the gun, and it's leading to a number of illegal activity, not illegal, but where they're not supposed to be. Yes.
So basically, you are saying illegal operations in residential areas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because that is something that has been brought attention to PEC, I believe, in numerous times, that residents are complaining that the neighbors, which is supposed to be a residential plot, they are operating businesses such as like garage, pounding of grog and all those things, which becomes a nuisance in a residential area. So would it be right to say that business license gone away, the council have lost the gist of going and inspecting this because there's no requirements now that so if that is the case, is there any agency who can actually go and check on these illegal operators, especially in the residential areas, that they are actually operating their business? I still believe, like, for example, canteen and those things, as you rightfully said, they have to go to the council to seek an approval. But if somebody wants to operate a garage, right, they don't actually have to come to the council for the. So, is there any authority with that?
If I may, sir. Currently, we're having a very reactive approach where if a complaint comes through, then our building team or the health team goes and checks, and then there is a issuance of the notice period. So we mostly issue a 30-day notice for them to either cease business. But then if they don't comply with that, it actually goes up into court. So then we are at the mercy of the court to give us a stop work notice or a demolition order. So the court process takes a bit of time. In some cases, cases from 2019 are being held in the current year. So with these situations on hand, we face a number of issues of repeated customer ratepayer complaints. There is also an issue where ratepayers stop paying their rates because their complaints have not been dealt with. And then with the precedence that has been set, because council is not able to take major action on this, it leads to other illegal businesses to come up as well. So the major issue that we are facing with Nasinu is as you have said, the garages operating without permits in a residential zone. We have rental companies that are doing painting and other activities within a residential zone. A few cover bars have come up in residential zones that are affecting the residential public health and all. So these are some of the things that we are facing with the council. So with the 7 wards that we have at Nasinu Town Council, there is on average 3 complaints that we receive per day for an illegal operation somewhere within the vicinity.
Yeah, thank you for that brief, because where I'm actually getting to is, and I think we actually had some discussion over this yesterday as well. Like, for example, if there's an illegal operator, though it's an illegal operator who has started operation illegally, the council has the onus to take it to court and then prove that he is operating illegally, rather than actually council having the powers to put a stop to it, and the owners is then passed on to the owner of that particular illegal business to take it to the court and prove that it's a legal entity that should be operating over there. I think this might need bit of tweaking and changing of the legislation, so that I think councils can get more powers rather than, and rightfully said, if the residents or the taxpayers are complaining, for how long they will complain before they get frustrated? Because they, according to them, they know council. Council should have the powers to act upon their complaint if they know that there is an illegal practice that is going on. I think that's a big flaws at the moment with our legal system and our laws that are in place, that the onus is on the people who are supposed to do right to prove that the other person is doing wrong. And I think it needs to change from this side of the table to the other side. If you are doing that, onus is on you to take the council to court, because council can sue and can be sued. So I think that is something that we need to look into in very near future, as to how can we give some teeth to the council to start operating with some authority in trying to decrease these illegal operators that are actually operating in, especially in residential areas. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Another major issue that we are facing is the ratepayer mentality of not paying their rates on time. We have, as I have said, of the 11,375 ratepayers we are only able to collect full rent or full rates for only 50%, 54% in a year. We have implemented a DRU unit that is actually working onto it. So we have seen an increase in roughly around 1 million collection from the previous years. It has gone up from that, but we still face challenges in that. Of the total arrears that I'm currently facing with the Nasinu Town Council is somewhere around 14 million. Of this 14 million, 5 million relates to properties that have deceased owners. There is currently no law that allows us to seize those properties or take any action on that. The most that we can do for these under the Act is that we are placing a caveat, a charge, but then this rate is only receivable when those properties either sell off or there is a change of ownership. But there are certain properties that we have seen that it has been ongoing under dispute. So maybe if we can look into a law that allows once a person passes on, that the ownership of that property should change within the 3 months, or if we have some sort of a law that allows us to do that. That's one thing.
Just a clarification on that. Okay, if we say a particular plot is under dispute for, let's say, 6 years and the rate is not paid, once the dispute is over and the legal owner is determined by the court, is he liable to pay for that 6 years? And before the transfer happens, is it a requirement for them to clear that areas with the council, or there is no law? Law is silent on that as well.
So the Local Government Act allows us that once the property ownership changes, whatever liability is previously on the property would automatically become the responsibility of the new owners. So this is where the property lawyers come in. So they ensure that before the transfer takes place, all the debts are cleared off, and town council is one of them. There have been situations whereby people have bought properties where sometimes the lawyers have failed to look into that, but the liability of it will always be with the current occupier. In terms of properties where deceased owners are, the properties, how we are controlling that is we are placing a caveat or a charge on the property. So in case of any ownership changes, the caveat has to be paid off and removed. So that's where we are protected in that way. Another thing the Act allows us to do is to recover the rates is through mortgagee sale, but we haven't had a mortgagee sale for Nasinu. We haven't had a mortgagee sale ever, but this we don't usually practice on humanitarian grounds, because then a person losing his house and all. So we haven't tried that, but we have tried all the other avenues with our DRU officers issuing demand notices, follow-ups. We allow for payment plan options. We also take for small claims and magistrate court for recovery of rates. And then the last resort is that we place caveats on them.
So like with the when there's deceased properties, in most cases, the typical case is the typical case. The person's deceased, but the people are living in the home.
Yes, sir. Most of the properties that have deceased owners, they are people, they are occupiers indeed. But with maybe a culture that we have followed, there is a number of properties that the deceased has not made a will, or there is no change of ownership. So these properties are under the dispute, or there is an occupier and there is someone, other siblings or other family members are fighting for the property. So these remain in a limbo, and we cannot take court action against the deceased person and or the occupiers at at that state.
Paying the electricity bill and water bill, but not the water rates bill. Okay.
Chair, along with that, as you mentioned, that change of ownership, the liabilities with the new owner, is law talking about anything? Because over time this has changed. I don't think practically it's viable, right? Because as you are saying, lawyers are the ones who are supposed to ensure, right, but not legally required to do it. Even if they don't, there is no penalty against the lawyer of so forth, because it's not showing in the law itself. But then the council must be receiving complaints of the new owner not willing to pay the rate that was due by the previous owner. So again, I would actually try to get your opinion. If we change the law to say that no transfer can take place unless and until there is a clearance letter given by the council from a previous owner to new owner, would that actually help the council going forward to ensure that if there is any land or property that is supposed to be on sale and there is a rate that's being owed to the council, it's supposed to be cleared, a clearance letter given, and then only the transfer can take place. Would that actually help the council?
Yes, sir. Similar to the consent that Lands Department or TLTB gives to the mortgagor or for the titles office to transfer the title, if there is a similar consent introduced for the municipal councils to say that there is rate owing or their rates are clear, that would really help the council to recover rates and also protect the interests of the new owners.
Because something to also consider in this would be, if there's somebody owing $200 from 2000, if you actually calculate the value of the $200 in today's time, it must be around $2,000, because that's another thing, value of the money that would have been paid at that point in time. So that's something, again, if we change the law, that needs to be considered as well, because if that money would have actually come at the right time to the council would have progressed much faster, because at that point in time the inflation was too low, very low, I would say. And now if they are paying the $200 that was owed back in 2000, in 2025, that $200 has basically no value to it.
Thank you, sir. The other issues that we are facing with Nasinu is that we have a lot of residential D-classified customers, ratepayers, that have gone from or have been upgraded from an informal settlement into formal settlements. So we face issues with the infrastructure that is already built or around which they have already been built. So that's a challenge that we are facing. And then we also have aging infrastructure. There is no, as Setu Yono has highlighted, there is no CBD, there is no drainage scheme plans. So in the absence of these, council does face a number of issues for that one. So if I may go into the questions that was posed by the committee. Okay, for the first question that was posed by the committee, we do have a software in place, but this is not a fully fledged accounting system. We are currently using the WinBiz software. There are only 2 modules that are activated onto the system. This was implemented in the year 2006. Prior to year 2006, council was fully manual. We were maintaining stock cards for the ratepayers, and then in 2006, when the system was introduced, we moved from the stock cards to the system. So this has a record of the ratepayer transaction, and it also allows us to receive any revenue that is received in the council. Every other revenue has been systemized, so there is it's paid at the council cashier and received into the system. The only council revenue that is still collected on manual receipts is the market fees, the vendor fees that are paid on a daily basis. The other module that has been activated on the software is the payroll module. So this allows us to key in the time in and the time outs for the individuals and calculate both the salary and the wages things. Um, the other financial details that we are actually maintaining those on the Excel systems, and this is one of the major reasons as to why the council is behind with their financial reports. As per the security of the WinB system, each of us, we have a separate username and ID, and the and then it has security levels as well. So I've attached a shot of the system on how it is maintained. And the main administrative password is controlled by the company SoftLogic, who is also our provider. Now, moving forward, what we have done, sir, is as of last year, we put out a tender, and we have actually engaged a new supplier on board. So Kenzotech has come on board. We are considering migrating from WinBees to Microsoft Business Central. We start our first training on the Business Central from next week Tuesday. So the month of March would be training of staffs. Month of April and May would be where we key in all our financial data from the beginning of August 1st to make it parallel to WinBees. And then June and July would be running WinBees and Microsoft Office Central parallel. And then we'll fully be implementing it in the next financial year.
Chair, I think we were informed that ministry is looking at a centralized system for all the councils. So would it be wise for council to basically waste money on this software, knowing that in very near future is going to be replaced by the centralized system that is being brought by Ministry of Labour? Sorry, Ministry of Local Government.
Yes, sir. We were actually part of the unified accounting software program. So the scope of the way, from as per my understanding, and I stand to be corrected, the scope of works that was provided by the unified accounting software supplier, we have used a similar scope for engaging this current supplier. We had a discussion with Ministry of Local Government, and it's because there was a delay from the Ministry of Local Government and we were significantly behind with our financials. So we, in discussions with MLG, we went ahead with this software. Even, sorry.
Something we'll raise in the report as well. Like we're trying to encourage consistency of systems across the government service providers. The reason for that, that's why Honorable Maharaj correctly pointed out what he said was, for those of you who know about accounting software, the more people that use it, the less the cost across the board. And then, there's benefits with maintenance. If people move jobs to other councils, it's the same system. It creates a lot of efficiency benefits as well. So I will note that you are progressing ahead, and we'll just note it in the report as something that we've noted, because certainly from the public accounts perspective, we'd like to see governments become more consistent in the use of software, because it just makes sense economically. It's cheaper for the taxpayers as well. So, but thank you. Yeah, just a question on the new system. Like, WinBiz clearly is not, fully a full financial suite. So I'm assuming the new system is a full financial suite.
Yes, sir. So
and it'll cover cash, debtors, accounts payable, everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's going to be a full accounting software that we are wanting to have up and running and fully implemented by the end of this year. So it will have, what we have discussed with the supplier is that we will be loading the unaudited accounting statements that as it is, and then once we are on par with our financials, we would be proposing a write-off or uh, try to do our reconciliations as much as possible and then propose a write-off to have our systems balanced off before we can go further into the other financial years.
What is the cost of this new system?
It's roughly around 100,000 something.
100,000.
Yes, sir.
Carry on. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. On question number 2 for the staff loan advances, so this staff loan was a practice that was under the leadership of Special Administrator Mr. Moses Sekama. So upon his departure in 2019, this was stopped. Currently, as per the HR manual that was implemented by the Ministry of Local Government, we do not allow for any staff advances. There is no staff advances that is given out currently. There is no such practice, sir. Question number 3 on the receipting and the revenue side of it, as I've explained, we are using WinBiz for our all our receiptings. So we have online banking payment options. We have M-Pesa, MyCash. So all these things go through a weekly reconciliation and then it is entered into the system. So I've attached a few examples of it. Also, we have had trainings provided by the Office of the Auditor General and also by the Ministry of Local Government. So we are currently working towards that as to how to bring our financials from a disclaimer into a qualified opinion. Management and governance of the council in terms of procurement and finance. So we have adopted the finance manual that was introduced by Ministry of Local Government in 2022. Training for this has been provided to all the finance heads and also to the SAs and CEOs, both by the Ministry of Local Government and also through SA conferences by the Office of the Auditor General. So we are following that. Special administrators and CEOs have also been part of this training. And we have also, Council has updated its organizational structure to include the position of an internal auditor. We had some challenges in finding an internal auditor, but we have re-advertised the position and then it is currently in the long listing process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments the council would like to make? Or?
If I may add, Chair, the new financial system, because I think the first day we came in and we were briefed, we were told that it will be implemented. It's after 3 years now and we're still waiting for the implementation of the new financial management system. Eh? So we had discussed this with the Nandi Town Council also is working on the same software, the financial package. Eh? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Auditor General, did you want to make some brief comments if you wish?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just for the information of the committee, the audits for financial year 2021, we are waiting a feedback from the council to come back on the availability of accounting records. We have got the resources available to conduct the audit, and as soon as the council is able to provide us clear direction on the availability of records, we should go in. We will be able to go in audit the pending ones. The other point that probably just to assist the manager finance and his team mentioned about they're getting a new software. So we would suggest that if they could take a structured kind of walking back approach, Honorable Chair, where the reliable data for current year 2025, 2024 is available. And if you look at the qualification matters in the auditor's report is mostly on the balance sheet items. So what we would suggest is, for example, if they're looking at property, plant and equipment, they can see what is currently available and work back towards the year till when they can verify the existence of asset. And largely the assets they have is they've got a building and they have got a vehicle. Those could be easily verified, and if they need to ascertain the current value, they can just do a quick valuation and see. And if there's any unreconciled variance, then they can consider doing write-off and making appropriate adjustments into the financial statement. That way is like looking from a reliable data, going back to where they, as far as they can go, and then they will come back to a point where they can say, okay, there's no point going back because there's no data available to substantiate that. So that could assist the council on that one, Honorable Chair. And the other significant matter that we currently have is this lapse of external audit, and there's a gap between the last audit and the current year. So we would encourage some internal audits done. And for the information of the committee, Honorable Chair, what we have taken a proactive approach is where the Auditor General currently is undertaking a compliance audit across all the municipal councils, looking at procurement of goods and services that we consider as quite a high risk area in terms of compliance to procurement rules and all this. So given the fact that almost the 12 municipal councils is in backlog, so we have taken a proactive approach in doing a compliance audit, and that report would be tabled in Parliament once it's complete. That's basically a brief from our end, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Just a few questions. Just to start off, there was one issue that we picked up yesterday, and also we discussed with the Auditor General this morning regarding just the use of contracted service providers for the backlog. And we are hearing that some of these providers are almost being territorial with the way they're doing the accounts, because they're refusing access by the Auditor General to the prepared accounts. And two questions, I guess, is one, I think in the case of one town council, they removed that service provider. And or the new one is the troublesome one too. Yeah, so they've changed service provider, and the new one is still a problem one. So like just to understand in terms of the seller, because in discussion with the Auditor Generals, with the expectation is the service provider needs to be obviously quality. Otherwise, you paying for not so good service. So the suggestion was to get tier 1 or tier 2 accounting firms. And I just wanted to check what tier is Nasinu currently using. And then in terms of the access to records, is that the reason for the service provider saying no to access to the details, which should be given because that's how you do an audit. Whether that's due to some contractual commitments, or is there a way of solving that to allow the auditors to expedite their work? Yeah. Thank you.
If I may. What you have highlighted, Sai, is actually what the Nasinu has also been facing. The current audits that are with Auditor General is 21 and 22, years 21 and 22. These were actually outsourced to an external company, and we have had situations or issues where they are unable to provide us with the reconciliations and the documents that are actually required by the Auditor General to carry on with those audits. I think one of the approaches that the municipal councils has been using, speaking for Nasinu, and if I can speak for Nasori as well, is that we have very limited cash flow or finances available to engage into these activities. Our core responsibilities, as I have said, is through garbage collection in the building and the health. So we prioritize these, and then whatever is left or whatever is available to us, we try and get these supplies in. And with most of the situations, what we are doing is that we are choosing the cheapest one. and usually the cheapest one is not the one that is of quality. So we have had faced this situation with 21 and 22 and the years prior to that as well. So the current years that are pending and that we have not submitted to Auditor Office of the Auditor General is the year 2023, 2024 and 2025. We were in the process of putting out the TORs and having someone or an external party come and do the accounts for us, but we have stopped because currently Nasinu is facing a cash flow situation. We do not have enough funds to go with ahead with this expenditure. So we have written to our ministry. We have requested for some additional funding, and they're working towards that. So once that comes through, then we will be putting a proper TOR. In the last meeting that we have with the Auditor General and the auditor, the contractor auditor, they had actually volunteered that they will assist us with the TORs that can help us produce better and quality reports. So we would be going back to them and requesting for assistance. Also, to add on to what Mr. Moshin has said, we had because we had this discussion in the CEO's conference as well. So we have engaged into a board of survey. There is a team that is headed by S.A. Salesh. So we have identified all our buildings and everything, and we have had a valuation for them done in the year 2025, and the valuations are on hand for all our buildings and land that we own. We have also identified all our vehicles, and we have written off 5 or 6 of them that were not in use, and then we have a listing of the new ones or the current operational ones. So that the buildings and the vehicles have been completed. We are in the process of completing the office fixtures and other market and other assets that we have. So the Board of Survey is going to resolve our issue in that manner. We have also done the provisioning for debtors as the per the advice of Auditor General. So we carried out a rate profiling exercise in the year 2024, and based on the rate profiling exercise, we identified the properties that are in genuine hardship. So in the last ordinary council meeting that we had sometimes last week, we have approved if we have approved for a few write-offs, which we would be submitting to our honorable minister for his final approvals. So that's amounting to somewhere around 660,000. It's going to be a significant one. Thank you, sir.
I was just interested in terms of the how you're going to transfer balances into the new system, because it's clear that from the current audits up to 2020, 21, 22, 23, you'll have all these unsubstantiated balances, and so for the council, is there because clearly the preference would be to load balances that are verifiable rather than stack your general ledger with numbers that are not substantiated. So I guess the question, just out of interest, is what financial year would you pick to start, given that you don't have unqualified accounts, or whether you will accept that some of the balances you have will be unsubstantiated and then fix them later, I guess is the question now.
We're taking, if I may, sorry, sir. We are taking the second approach. We are going to have the balances as it is keyed into the system, and then we'll try to reconcile. And then once we come up with the hurdle where we are unable to find those balances and reconcile, so we are in discussions with our board, we have decided that we are going to request for a write-off to have our balances corrected as per what is on the ground, and then move fresh from that year. So the current plan was that we are going to take the 2022 balances, the end of financial year 2022 balances. We started maintaining proper records in terms of our cash books, the Excel cash books and CAPEX registers and all those things from the year 2022. So we would try to do the entries into our new system to have it on par. So this is where this would be captured in our trainings next week as to how we are going to go about doing that. The supplier has assured us that we would be able to do it, but we haven't actually tested the system yet, sir. So
Because certainly from where we're sitting, the reason why the accounts are disclaimed or modified is really because of the internal control environment not being good. And so you're producing very low quality financial data. And like the reason why I asked that question about where you start, because just looking at the 2020 audited disclaimer opinion, just in terms of the cash balances, which is your key item, it's saying that we were entering records from the bank statements rather than from the primary documents, and that's very scary, as in for any finance person, you're not using the primary source to particularly when there's multiple receipts and multiple check payments. The position you've taken, just to understand, is because you believe your internal control environment is better from 23 onwards. You actually taking the 22 balances. Is that the approach you're kind of taking? Yeah.
yes, sir. Because so what had actually happened is that we have been taking into considerations the management comments that the Auditor General has been providing us. So we have been improving onto it significantly.
Okay.
Previous practice was, yes, we were not receipting a number of things into the system. I think there was we were not receipting our grants, we were not receipting market income, or we're not receipting the other incomes that were coming through. So these were actually banked, and then the reconciliations were, or the accounting companies that were engaged, they were actually relying on the bank statements to enter into. So based on the trainings that we have been provided, so we started from 2022, we started receipting everything. The grants are receipted as and when we receive it. Any income or expenditure that any income, sorry, that comes through the council goes to the cashier. It goes through a receipting process and it's recorded. The bank reconciliations, the direct deduction reconciliations, the M-Pesa reconciliations, MyCash reconciliations are all now done on a weekly basis. So if you refer to the attachments, we are receipting all the revenues there. Any unidentified balances that are in our bank statement that come through online banking are actually entered into a suspense account. We send a request to our banks to give us the contact details of the person who has made the deposit, and we try and figure it out, and we put it into those respective accounts. So this mostly happens when our ratepayers forget to write the correct assessment number, or instead of the assessment number, they print out their DP number or something like that. So we've rectified onto those.
Yeah. So like for example with the trade accounts receivable, let's say, because on WinBiz you do have it online, correct? It's on the, you punch the trade accounts receivables on WinBiz, eh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you'll conceivably have balances that you can substantiate now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So and there'll just be a number that's is sort of non-substantiated, eh?
Yes, the assessment number, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you look at Appendix 6,
Yeah.
if I may show it. So these are the actual receipts that are issued on the by the cashier. When a customer makes a payment at the counter, these are the receipts that are issued here.
Yeah.
If you can go down onto Appendix 6, please. So these are the payroll reports that comes out from the WinBiz system. The employee ID is there, the employee name, and then the total hours and all those things. So this is a report that we use on a weekly basis to pay our staff. If you go further down, please. Okay, this is the user control that the WinBiz allows us. So each user has their unique name, their login details, and then the password has been blocked out. So even the administrator, I have the administrator password. Even myself, I won't be able to view anyone else's password. That level of access is only with the provider. So if we can go further down. Okay, these are the race adjustments. The WinBiz system is a quite an outdated system, so it does not allow us to automatically pick up the discount figures. We actually have to go and do manual discount entries. So these are the adjustments that we prepare, and then it goes through a checking process. The senior accountant checks onto it. Then once it's approved by the manager of finance, then only it is entered into the system. Okay, these are the bank statements, how we are keeping track of our bank online deposits.
So right now you can confidently say that the bank recs are being reconciled in a timely basis?
So bank recs have been done, but we lack the I'm not sure how to say that, but there is no debit and credit entries that we can reconcile against. So what we are doing is that we are actually entering the bank statements into our system, but the bank recs, they don't have a balancing figure because we don't have a GL. There is no accounting software to support that. So what we are doing is we are only picking up unpresented checks, and we are picking up any lodgements that are, so there's
So
no
you
cash
still have
balances to tie it up
some
to. Yeah.
concerns around internal controls in it? Okay.
So this is the appendix that I was referring to. So the assessment number is a unique number assigned to each rate pair. Each rate pair will have their details, and this is from the year 2005 when the system was actually implemented. So into 2026, when the system was implemented, whatever was on the stock card has been entered through a debit entry. The JDR is there, and from there the invoice and any receipts is reflected onto the statements. So at any point in time, when we go on to an assessment number, we'll be able to pick up that customers, that rate payers amount owing. If you can further go down onto the end of the statement, a little down on page 12. Down again. So here, yeah, this is page 9, page 12. Yeah, page 12 will show us the balances that is currently owed by the customer on that particular date. This also allows us, the system also allows us to check on the number of bins that a flat has and enter into comments or follow-up calls that we are doing for the customers. So similar concept would be used on the Business Central. We are not changing the concept of rate payer statements. The only thing that we are doing with the system, the new system, is that we cannot transfer the historical data. So we would be running WinBiz alongside as a standalone to keep the record of this.
Okay. Yeah, it's a massive undertaking, particularly when one of the systems is really not feeding off the right primary documentation. Okay. All right. Well, like the council from our side is you're clearly going to have a massive challenge, because normally when you change systems, you basically just the balances that you transfer are reliable. So you'll be sort of carrying with you the legacy. So and how you handle that will be a challenge. Okay. So in terms just like for one of the qualifications was on trade creditors. Again, are you now reconciling that manually, or because you've picked up from 2022 onwards? Are you now reconciling those accounts properly, or?
So Nasinu Town Council has a bad reputation of paying its credit. I'm sorry to say this, but a number of suppliers are no longer giving things to us on credit.
Right.
Most of our transactions are on cash basis.
Yeah.
So
So you
we
don't
are
have a
going through an
credit
NPO
as well.
process. There are a few contractors that are on credit. Leach, the major one, and we have the contractors that are contracted for solid waste management. These go through monthly reconciliations. We only have say about 18 creditors, and then we are doing monthly reconciliations for this.
Yeah, you just the 2020 accounts are saying there's 1.3 million
Yes.
creditors. That balance is probably write it back.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We did an undertaking in the year 2022. There was a outstanding
Make
of
a profit
around.
in 1 year. Paper profit. Okay. Okay. And you know the system, obviously the new system will take care of the financials. In terms of your HR payroll, what's the plan there?
On the HR system, we currently have a manual process of the manual staff files that we are maintaining and recording there. We have a IT team that's come on board. We're looking into avenues of introducing a HR software, but this is still dependent on our financial stability.
Yeah, it probably is worthwhile following the same process as the financial, having a proper, like a one software that's used by everybody. That way you can help each other. Yeah. Okay. All right. Members, any questions?
Chair, just a question. The staff at your finance department section, do you have enough staffs there to manage all these accounts, and especially the backlogs that you have?
Yes, sir. There was a restructure that was done in 2022, and then again with the introduction of the new SEs. So now the finance structure, I would say we have a complete finance structure. We have the CFO, the manager finance, the senior accountant, 2 account assistants, and then 7 revenue collection officers, and a cashier.
The other question is the contracted auditors. Do they have what, a TOR with them, or do they report? They report to you, or they also do the auditors? They answerable to the OAG or only to you?
So the contractor auditors, if you are referring to the suppliers that prepare our accounts, or the accountants,
Yeah.
yes, they technically report to us. But if there is a need for information, Auditor General previously through us communicate with them. Yes.
Chair, I just mentioned something about what we have done in our ministry. We are looking at the program or the timetable for the closing of accounts for this financial year. And last week we called everybody in our headquarters. We sat together and look at the time frame. And from next week we are consolidating almost all the staffs from all the divisions in the, to come to headquarters, sit here and try and work towards trying to look at the project papers and accounts, and so that we are able to utilize all our funding for this financially. Well, why I'm saying this, I don't know how they can do it in the councils, like try and be serious with all these audit issues and the delaying accounts. So if a team can be tasked to look at all these issues and give a clear time frame for them, rather than just leaving it. Now it's 4 years or 5 years behind now. I don't know whether those other systems in government, whether the same principle can apply to town councils or local government.
So what we are currently doing is that with the exposure that has been given to us through trainings and also we've started maintaining Excel files. So in terms of our data entry, we are ready with our data entry. We have gone through the process of actually checking the Excels to ensure that every entry, so the current practice is that there is a requisition raised for any expenditure. The requisition goes through our approval process and then a payment voucher is raised on that. So those payment vouchers are entered into an Excel on a monthly basis to have the monthly cash book. We refer to them as cash books. So these are ready by the 7th. So the January cash book is ready by Feb 8th. From Feb 8, then we start preparing our reports to our essays to show the budget variances, the cash flow of the council, and basically keep track of the income and expenditure both. So we're providing those on a monthly basis, and then the essays and the CEOs are also following up on that and ensuring that. So in terms of the 2022, 2023, 2024 accounts, we are ready with the raw data, but we do not have the means to currently engage a supplier. So it all depends on the availability of funds.
Chair, just a question. You just mentioned that now you have a fully fledged accounts department. So why can't the financials be done in-house? Why it has to be outsourced?
We don't have a system. We don't have an accounting software to do that. So with the suppliers that we are getting in, they are using softwares. So what they are doing is they are taking in our raw data and they are entering into those softwares and they are producing the financial reports. So that's one of the reasons that we are outsourcing.
What?
The current, basically, without putting a too fine a point on it, Nasinu really doesn't have a financial system at the moment. They're really working on a combination of general ledger and WinBiz, and that has just all sorts of red flags around it. The challenge now is to try and transition to a fully fledged accounting system, whilst you have the current challenge of working off. Currently you're not working off prime documentation, so and I suppose you have to bite the bullet and just decide, what point do you start loading it properly on the system, so that you get the right output. Because, for example, right now they're working off the bank statement to work out the cash position. Normally you sort of enter all the checks just got automatically entered into the general ledger, and it spits out a number, and then you take that number and check with your bank statement. Yeah. So these are the challenges that I think not only Nasinu but other town councils are facing it. So I think where the Public Accounts Committee can probably assist is if you can make an assessment of what sort of additional resource you possibly need to actually assist you get over the line, and then perhaps we can, because we're certainly flagging that in a very broad sense in the provincial council report, and we're happy to do the same. We're thinking of doing the same as well, because otherwise the changeover itself is a major exercise on its own, and you'll need additional resource, even if it's just punching that data. So it's just one of those things that is a challenge, and the solution is to get additional resources. So we'll certainly we'll write again, and perhaps you can just give an idea of what what you need to get over the line and get to sort of like a more financially acceptable sort of state of affairs, where you've got a proper financial system that's churning out data that you then cross-check against your primary document. Okay. So we'll make it write in, and then if you can just perhaps very quickly just write back in terms of what you think Nasinu would need, because I know it's certainly going to be a requirement for the councils, because it's quite scary for you to say that you really using the rest of your whatever's left over to address a core deliverable in any business. So we need to help you get over the line. Yeah. Honorable members, any other questions or?
Chair, I have one question.
Sure. Yeah, carry on.
Hello?
Carry on, yeah.
Chair,
Yeah.
this is in regards to the staffing. I heard, from the CEO regarding staffing, they are, facing difficulties with the limited staff. They are finding it quite challenging. My question is regarding the number of staff. What is the required number of staff, and what is the current staffing for Nasinu Town Council?
So, if I may, we currently have a combination of office and depot workers, 154 staffs in total. So office for the admin work we have around 32. So we have the finance team, the health and building team, and the enforcement, and the just one officer in the admin side of it. I think we did a assessment for our organization. We need at least of the number of people that we have, or the service providers that we have, we need to double the number of the admin team that we have. So the health department currently has 5 team members. We need at least another 3 to join in to fully be able to focus on the wards. The building team has only 3 staff. We need to bring in another 4 to be able to fully cater for all the wards that is there. Similarly, for the enforcement team, we only have 2. We need another 5 to come in. For the finance team, I think now we are quite okay with the numbers that we have. The HR team would also is just 1 person, so we'll need another 2 to join in. And then we'll also need a project team to come up that's in the depot side of it, to assist with the project works that we are doing. Currently, as I've said earlier, what we are doing is that we have the main priority is grass cutting and solid waste management. Then whatever unproductive hours is there, then we utilize those to cater for project works. Example being doing our parks, our gardens and all. So yeah, but we haven't actually had a formal organization survey done to establish the number of staffs. We have just recently completed our job evaluation exercise, but it hasn't been implemented. But the organization structure has to be done. That's right.
Saying double the admin staff, but in terms of the staff, operational staff, like just based, I'm just working off what Mr. Tiono said, your ratio per population is 1 to 1,000. And there's no, sorry, what you were saying, or Suva was 1 to 500, So I guess in terms of a very raw way of saying, you potentially have to double your staff, or at least have 25% increase to something around those lines. So roughly maybe a 25% to 50% increase in staff levels,
Okay,
Honorable Chan. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Binaka.
If I may add, Chair, we did a staff rationalization assessment when we came in, and that's how we stagger those figures comparable to other existing bigger municipal councils. And we saw that there is a great need that we need to increase our staff manning capacity in order to meet the demand that we are facing on a daily basis. So we are working along that line, and we are putting up a paper for institutional strengthening program as part of that initiative. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, honorable members? Yeah, thank you again. Firstly, thank you for coming in today and to present to the Public Accounts Committee. And it's no secret that certainly from the Public Accounts Committee's point of view, the town council's financials need to be brought up to date. Notwithstanding, there's a bit of history involved, and there are issues that we're really just trying to fix now. So, from our perspective, we are keen to see how we can assist in terms of the ensuring that we all sense that there's been a lot of good work done, and we're just getting close to where we can really transition properly into business as usual operations. And so we're at a critical point, both in terms of provincial council as well as town council, where we really need to make sure that that we resource the requirements properly, so that it doesn't collapse again. And then we have to rebuild. I'm sure the Auditor General is keenly trying to ensure that we move to business as usual, so that every year the audits just you're focusing on the right period. And besides, as we all know, when you in 2026 and you're still talking about accounts for 2021, the use of those conversations is probably between useless and no value at all. So like I said, we're really keen to we'll write to you and just invite you to get your views in terms of the needs, just to support in terms of what we're seeing. We get the sense that some of the councils are already fixing, certainly in terms of representation, they're fixing their internal control environment, which is very important. Because otherwise, as the saying goes, you'll just have garbage in and garbage out. Your information quality is not quality, and so whatever you produce will be not of good quality. Yeah. So perhaps just a thought to the Auditor General. I know you've done compliance and purchasing, but I wonder for those councils that you feel are sort of advancing quite well and have potential to get already operating in terms of a better internal control environment, whether it's probably useful to assess them now as part of a compliance, just an internal control audit check, so that it just helps with because in the historical checking, in my view, is good for history, but really doesn't help the management of the financial affairs of the council. So again, with those few words, again, thank you for today's presentation. It's been quite an enlightening discussion. We get the feeling that, certainly from the discussions, there's legislation adjustments that are probably required, and we'll certainly try and make note of that in the report. The potential to look at additional revenue collection, and perhaps revisit the business license if there's a way of automating it, so that it makes the process easier. And as mentioned by the President in his speech to Open Parliament, digital transformation is a major priority for government. And on that basis, certainly, if we can introduce some of these automated ideas to sort of ease up. I know that from my previous involvement in the Ministry of Trade, we were doing BPAS, and there's some automation principles there that can be used quite broadly as well. So yeah, there are some very good things that we've been picking up as part of the conversations. But I think underlying that is the need to really ensure that we resource the councils properly. And today we've just focused on the financials, but clearly there, besides the financials, you have operational service critical issues as well that need to be looked at. So again, thank you to everybody for availing yourselves today. And it's been certainly enlightening for myself, and I'm sure the rest of the committee. Should we require further clarifications, we will revert. But again, thank you, and with those concluding remarks, we'll bring this public hearing session to a close. Vinavalem.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Naga. There's some.